All right. How's everyone doing? Are we awake this morning? I'm Kristen Burkhalter. I'm Executive Vice President at Axios, and I am thrilled to be having this conversation with Liz Santoni, who is an Executive Vice President and the Chief Customer Experience Officer at Cisco. Thanks for joining Axios, Liz.
Thanks for having me here.
That's a tough one to follow with Andrew, but I feel confident.
By the way, I did take his course. I would highly recommend it. The class that he teaches, and a number of my teams have done that as well.
She told me that backstage, so I know she's been watching. Take those notes. All right, Liz, you have an incredible, impressive title. Let's start with, what do you do at Cisco?
Yeah. So I have the pleasure of being the Chief Customer Experience Officer at Cisco. It's a team that, think about it in very simple terms, is a lot of customers buy our technology. What we work on, how do we help them maximize the value of the investments that they're making? And so the team covers everything from, being part of the selling, but also designing things like the architecture, the technology architecture, helping the customers adopt our technology, expand it to new use cases, and customer support as well. So through the life cycle, the focus of our team is very much on how do we make sure that we deliver our customers' outcomes with as little risk as possible. And a big focus for me in terms of day-to-day is around, one is how do we put the customer at the center of everything that we do? And it's not just a campaign, it's a commitment in everything that we do. And how do we push further and further into AI? Because when I think about customer experience, it's the one place where it's like rich with use cases, but it also helps reduce the cognitive load for our teams. Mm-hmm. I mean, in any of the jobs, it's a 20,000 person strong team. In any of the jobs that the team does, and it's a great team, it's like there's so much friction in what they do every day. And we absolutely see AI in terms of helping reduce that friction.
I think we're going to dig into a couple of those. Yep. So last year, we were all sitting here, most of us were sitting here, and everyone was talking about Gen AI. And maybe even before Gen AI has even come into full fruition, we're now flipping to agentic AI, the topic of our event here. Is this hype, in your opinion?
Is it hype? No. Will it take a long time before it becomes a reality? Yes. If I look at customer experience, I feel like agentic has an opportunity to transform how we do customer services in a big way. But what it also does is it exacerbates some of the current problems and it creates new ones as well. So what do I mean by that? So at Cisco, we did this thing called the AI Readiness Index. And only 13% of our enterprise customers are ready to adopt AI. So the conversations that we're having here, and I think Andrew touched on that as well. So the conversations that we're talking about in terms of Gen AI and agentic, they're outpacing the reality of where we're all ready to kind of adopt it. And when we think about the issues that we've been talking about with just AI in general, around transparency, our customers are asking us about, okay, this is the output from the prompts, help me understand the explainability in terms of how'd you get there. Those just get even more exacerbated with agentic, because with agentic, you're talking about now, like an AI agent, not just helping assist something and augment something. It's like you're talking about your intern is now actually graduating to a full-time job. Like talking to your customers about taking action. And I do think that, so should we have the conversation? Absolutely, because agentic is coming. It's just that it's going to take us a few years before it gets here.
And you're living and breathing this every day. Yeah. But let's get a little practical. At the customer level, explain to us what is different from the experience to the deliverable.
So maybe I can take an example of customer support. So say you call Cisco today and you have a trouble ticket. We do have AI agents that work in the background. They pull your account history. They pull, like, what are the products in your environment? We have release notes for these products. And they help the human in terms of being able to kind of handle the issue, but be able to find the root cause analysis as quickly as possible. Because we want to be able to solve customers' problems as quickly as possible. And that's today. So we have AI agents that help with assisting customers. For complex issues, we have things in terms of summarization. So think about, you're on the phone with customer support, and they go, let me hand you to somebody else. And how many times do you have to explain the same thing all over again? It's very annoying. So this is what Gen AI does beautifully in terms of summarizations. So it's assisting our teams who hand over, from one to the other, especially if it's a complex issue that you don't want to ask the customer all over again in terms of what did you call for? So that's great. With us, moving to Gen AI and more agentic, think about in terms of where the task where an AI agent is not just helping with the task, it's actually completing the task and taking action as well. And so we're talking about addressing issues in real time. And I've been at Cisco 25 years. 25 years ago, we talked about this vision of predictive, like being able to tell you in your environment what could potentially go wrong. It could be a performance bottleneck. It could be a security issue. I think agentic AI has the ability to deliver on that vision. So think about from a customer experience standpoint, you're thinking about your environments being much more resilient and secure. That's I would say is a huge value.
It's exciting, lots to learn. But I think it leads me to my next question, and I'm assuming there's a lot of leaders in this room. What is your advice for them? Because in this age of AI, how do we keep experiences human-centric still? There's a lot of benefits to what that agent can do, but as leaders, they're also hearing from their stakeholders things like AI is going to take our job. So what is your advice for this room of leaders?
Yeah. So I would say is if you think about customer experience and any of the jobs where you're at touch points where you're interfacing with customers, is that there's a human part around empathy, around emotional intelligence that you're not going to get from the AI agents. All right, so the question is, how do you balance it in where AI is awesome in customer experience? Because when I think about us, very people intensive. We have 40 plus years of data, very repeatable workflows. AI is perfect for being able to help. But the humans provide like 40 years of knowledge base, empathy, and even in the lower risk use cases, there are people who just want to talk to a human. Because the technology is not advanced to a point where it's still a little bit, if I could use the term kludgy, where you can still know you're kind of talking to a bot out there. So I think for leaders, it's like balancing out in terms of this balance of the machine and the human to maintain that emotional intelligence, that knowledge base. I would say in terms of do jobs go away? I'd say some, yes, likely, but when you look at the history of technology, I think if we've been in the industry long enough, and I have, a lot of it is about rebalancing versus complete replacement.
Okay, I'm going to end on one fun thing because we're almost out of time. I could sit here forever. Give us in this audience a peek under the hood, something that you're thinking about, something that you and Cisco are thinking about as we head into very fast 2025.
Okay. A quick fun thing, actually. We're taking bets in terms of when these AI agents as interns, actually we can graduate them into full-time jobs. We think it's about 24 months for them to take on tasks completely. Taking on a full-time role, the general bet is more than 36 months. But some of what we're excited about in Cisco is most of you would likely know us around, we build silicon, we build optics, we build systems that power these workloads. We're actually moving up the stack into agents and applications. Kind of our AI defense is all about securing how, where you're identifying where your AI assets are, understanding the risk, being able to build capability to mitigate that risk, and we're big users of it as well. So we're excited about all of that for 2025. I think being in this industry for this long, I think it's fair to say that this is one where I'm super excited about the technology, balancing that with the risk. But it's also something where I feel like I know something, and then 2 days later, it's changed. So it's really about you're learning every day. And I haven't had that in a long time.
That's important. Well, I'll end where I started. You have a very interesting, impressive, cool job. Liz, thank you for joining us today. Thank you all for being here. We have one more interview, so don't go anywhere. I'm going to pass it over to Allison Snyder from Axios.